As always, this will be just another story, just one of the many, and once again, there will be a white-collar crime committed by white-collar criminals that just gets swept under the rug, when me and you both know that if this was one of us, we would be doing the maximum amount of time. Matt Gaetz shouldn't have came within 200 yards of becoming the Attorney General. In fact, he probably shouldn't come within 200 yards of a school. But hey, what can you say? It's just good old religious right MAGA Republican values. Well. Looks like Christmas has came early. The House Ethics report that Republicans were doing anything and everything to keep hidden has been released, and the press has gotten a hold of it.
Before the holidays, the House Ethics Committee released a long-awaited and damning report on the conduct of former Florida Congressman Matt Gaetz. CBS broke the news on its findings early this morning. Gaetz responded almost immediately by filing a lawsuit attempting to stop the report's publication, but he failed to block its release. CBS's Scott McFarland has the latest tonight from Capitol Hill.
Matt Gaetz, who just weeks ago was trying to land the job of U.S. Attorney General,
folks have been very supportive,
is now alleged to have violated Florida's statutory law. The U.S. House Ethics Committee, which first launched an investigation of Gaetz 3 years ago, has issued a 42-page report of its findings today, alleging they found evidence Gaetz paid a 17-year-old girl who just completed her junior year in high school $400 for sex in 2017. And made payments of more than $90,000 to 12 different women, likely for sexual activity and drug use. The report says women testified sexual encounters were consensual. One woman told the panel the use of drugs at parties with Gaetz may have impaired her ability to know what was going on. Gaetz has denied all of the allegations.
The person doesn't exist. I have not had a relationship with a 17-year-old. That is totally false.
The committee said its report also found evidence Gaetz may have engaged in illicit drug use and that it's obtained text messages in which he refers to drugs as party favors, vitamins, or rolls. Allegations Gaetz also denies.
Yes, there are those good old Christian values that Republicans just keep beating us over the head with. And though many of the details are just now being reported from this Ethics Committee report that we haven't gotten a hold of yet, we've gotten quite a few things that have now been reported by the press. And even though Speaker Mike Johnson would rather we didn't talk about this, and even though I'm sure a lot of you out there probably don't want to think about what Grapey McForehead does here in his spare time, we're going to talk a little bit about it. First of all, the report details sex for money arrangements, drug-fueled parties, and trips. The committee found that between 2017 and 2020, Gaetz paid tens of thousands of dollars to women likely in connection with sexual activity and or drug use. He paid the women using through online services such as PayPal, Venmo, and Cash App, and with cash or check, the committee said. Now, as though having sex with Matt Gaetz wasn't bad enough, you have to sit there and wait for him while his old ass writes out a check for you. The committee also said it found evidence that Gaetz understood the transactional nature of his relationships with the women. The reports point to one text exchange in which Gaetz balked at a woman's request that he send her money, claiming she only gave him a drive-by. Look, I'm actually pretty surprised that Matt Gaetz found somebody that was willing to even give him a drive-by for only $400. The report went on to say, substantial evidence indicates that Gaetz allegedly had sex with underage girl. The report details a party in July 2017 in which Gaetz is accused of having sex with multiple women, including the 17-year-old for which they were paid. The committee pointed to credible testimony from the now woman herself as well as multiple individuals who corroborated the allegation. I'm actually surprised they found women that were willing to admit they had sex with Matt Gaetz, even for money. It went on to say, the thin 17-year-old who had just completed her junior year in high school told the committee that Gaetz paid her $400 in cash that night, which she understood to be payment for sex, according to the report. The woman acknowledged that she had taken ecstasy the night of the party, but told the committee that she was certain of her sexual encounters with the then congressman. Of course, Matt Gaetz, just like all the mentally deficient Trump sycophants, responded in the only way they could, with a tweet saying, giving funds to someone you are dating that didn't ask for and that isn't charged for sex is now prostitution? There is a reason they did this to me in a Christmas Eve report and not in a courtroom of any kind where I could present evidence and challenge witnesses. First of all, Matt, you don't get to call it Christmas Eve Eve. Like, if they would have done this on Sunday, you couldn't have said it was Christmas Eve Eve Eve. I believe what you were looking for was 2 days before Christmas. So let me get this straight. This was Trump's pick for Attorney General. And let's remember, Mike Johnson and Republicans knew what was in this report. They knew about it so much that they didn't want it to get out. In fact, I'm sure you guys all remember this clip from Mark Wayne Mullen.
So do you think that there should be any action taken against Matt Gaetz?
You know, that's up to the House. I'm not over there, so I'll let them work it out. But as far as Matt Gaetz himself, you got to think about this guy. This is a guy that the media didn't give a time of day to after he was accused of sleeping with an underage girl. And there's a reason why no one in the conference came and defended him, because we had all seen the videos he was showing on the House floor that all of us had walked away of the girls that he had slept with. He'd brag about how he would crush ED medicine and chase it with an energy drink so he could go all night. This is obviously before you got married.
Oh yeah, I remember that. I also remember Mark Wayne Mullen's response when he was asked whether or not he would vote for Matt Gaetz as the Attorney General.
You know, there's no question that Matt Gaetz and I have had our differences, and that's no secret. Moving forward, I do respect President Trump's the right to appoint these individuals, but underneath Article 2, Section 2, Congress has to advise and consent. And Matt Gaetz is going to go through the same scrutiny as every other individual, and I'm going to give him a fair shot just like every individual. And at the end of the day, the Senate has to confirm him. I do think it's a very, very tough role. I've got a tough situation that I've got to set my personal opinions, and they're really not opinions. I got to set my personal situation with Matt to the side and look at the facts. If he's qualified, he's qualified. Be quite frank, I didn't even know he was an attorney until after he was appointed Attorney General, and I had to do my research on him. And I know that's crazy because I served with him, but I just never did the dig to find out actually his actual degree, what it was in.
I think you can sum up that answer to, yeah, I am going to, because Daddy Trump told me I better. Look, I could give two shits about people doing drugs or even paying for sex, as long as the person's over the age of consent. But it's the hypocrisy that drives me absolutely nuts. Look, we all remember a certain son of a president that had a laptop that had drugs and prostitution on it. In fact, we didn't hear the end of it for 4 years. In fact, a certain congressperson brought pictures blown up into Congress to share with her friends. I mean, these people were so obsessed with it, they made shirts for it. And I know that these people love themselves some merchandise, but that seems like it's a little bit obsessed. And yet, when it's Matt Gaetz, it turns out we really shouldn't talk about this. Mike Johnson should hide it. MTG, nowhere to be seen. In fact, I'm pretty sure MTG probably has some secret information about this. They seem pretty close. I wish I could convince myself that Matt Gaetz is going to be held accountable. But let's be honest, Donald Trump, Matt Gaetz, and the rest of the MAGA Republicans don't ever get held accountable. As always, this will be just another story, just one of the many. And once again, there will be a white-collar crime committed by white-collar criminals that just gets swept under the rug. When me and you both know that if this was one of us, we would be doing the maximum amount of time. Matt Gaetz shouldn't have came within 200 yards of becoming the Attorney General. In fact, he probably shouldn't come within 200 yards of a school. But hey, what can you say? It's just good old religious right MAGA Republican values. All right, guys. Well, you tell me what you think about the Matt Gaetz Ethics Committee report being released. I'm pretty happy about it. Turns out at least 2 Republicans voted for it to be re-released. That's probably a little bit of that Kevin McCarthy revenge happening right there. But you let me know in the comments. All right, guys. I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. And I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, please like and subscribe and hit that notification bell. And check out that video on the screen now.